Hey everybody, welcome to Volquest.com and Volquest on the YouTube channel. I'm Eric Kane, Brent Hubbs, and activity in the transfer portal. At the time of this recording, Tennessee's had a couple more players enter the transfer portal this week. Wide receiver Walker Merrill, offensive lineman R.J. Perry, and offensive lineman William Parker. Brent, I would say none of these guys are really surprises, but Tennessee is continuing to lose some depth pieces at wide receiver and offensive line.
Yeah, I think the offensive lineman, no surprise at all, right? I mean, those guys that had not gotten on the field, and Tennessee's clearly recruiting past them in the portal. When you look at what Tennessee's got done, bringing in the kid from Texas, Andre Curick, who's coming in and was already here, so he's already practiced. They're going heavy after John Campbell from Miami. So if you're R.J. Perry and you're William Parker, you're seeing yourself getting recruited over at the high school level, and you're seeing yourself getting recruited over in the junior college level. When you look at what they brought in, in December, and then now in the transfer portal as well. So those make the most sense. Walker Merrill, a depth piece lost. And remember, Eric, go back to August when Walker Merrill met the media. What did he say?
So he wanted to play.
He said, I want to play. And he wasn't mad, and he wasn't ripping on anybody for not playing, but he was like, I'm ready to play. I want to play. And he just didn't get on the field this year. He did some in mop-up duty. He was always the next guy up, but it never got to the next guy, if you will. I think he was the fourth receiver in the Clemson game, in the Orange Bowl, but it never got there. And so I think he just looked at it, and that one's all about playing time, because I know Walker believes he can play and can be successful. And so I think that's the reason why you see Walker Merrill leaving.
I think he can play at this level, and I think versatility is big for him. It just obviously didn't work out here at Tennessee, so I would agree with you there. But when you're looking at these two positions now, I mean, you've got the guys you signed, and the Nathan Laycocks and Nate Spillmans, Cam Selden can play wide receiver. That's coming in. You got the Caleb Webbs and the Chaz Nimrods from last year. And then the rest of those wide receivers, the Brew McCoys, the Squirrel Whites, the Ramel Keatons, they played. You're losing some guys in terms of numbers and bodies at a position at wide receiver and on the offensive line. You're losing Darnell Wright. Of course, if we're talking tackle here, you're losing Wright, and you got some other ones coming in. You went and got one that might slide down in the guards. I just feel like where we are in college football nowadays, you're always recruiting these positions, but you might want to be active in the transfer portal to go get a guy. If you don't always just want to get a guy, but sometimes numbers might dictate that.
Yeah, I think they're okay at receiver. I mean, numbers-wise. Now, they need Caleb Webb to develop. They need Chaz Nimrod to develop. I mean, if those guys develop the way you expect them to, because let's face it, you recruited them to recruit past Walker Merrill, and so you need those guys to develop. If they don't develop, then you're going to see them have to go be more active in the transfer portal a year from now. They obviously want one in the transfer portal. And Thornton's their guy. That's where they've targeted him. They've targeted that guy. We'll see. He's supposed to be in town this week, so we'll see what that looks like and if they can get home with that one. But you look at what Tennessee's lost to this point. Not a ton of guys who were productive. Walker Merrill's probably the most productive guy that they lost. I mean, I sit there and watch the Orange Bowl, and here's D. Williams returning the kickoff, and Jimmy Holiday fair caught every one of those. He was told to fair catch every one of those. And they took a chance on a couple of them in the Orange Bowl. So they clearly didn't have a ton of confidence in Holiday returning kicks and giving him chances there. So they haven't lost a ton of production. They have lost some depth. They're trying to fill in with a couple of those spots. And this is the game this is the era we're in college football, Eric. It's all about roster management. You're not going to run as deep of a program as you have in years past. I mean, look at the number of transfers out of Alabama. Georgia's the lone exception right now. Everybody else is losing. Even the top teams are losing a lot of players. So you're just going to have a hard time running with the depth that you've run in years past, because guys want to play, and they have an option to leave anytime they want to leave.
Yeah, you now have that avenue to where for years and years and years you did not have that avenue. So far, Tennessee has lost 9 players to the transfer portal. As you said, none really big contributors. Walker Merrill, R.J. Perry, William Parker, Miles Campbell, Leneth Whitehead, Justin Williams-Thomas, who has committed to Stanford, Jimmy Callaway, who is committed to Louisville, Jordan Phillips, who is committed to Maryland, and then wide receiver Jimmy Holiday. Tennessee has brought in 3 players from the transfer portal, and Tennessee's still looking to upgrade its roster at some of these certain positions like offensive line, tight end, wide receiver, obviously, and maybe running back and a pass rusher and cornerback.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think the next question is, what does Tennessee's roster look like the next time we record one of these?
Hmm.
Right? Is it addition or is there more subtraction? How much more subtraction is there going to be? I don't think Tennessee is done with subtraction. I do think there'll be more movement on this roster, and obviously they've got to fill in some spots with some of those targets that we have talked about. So, you've got what 12 days left in this portal window, and then it closes down till after spring. So we'll see what the next week and a half looks like for Tennessee in terms of additions and subtractions as well.
Keeping up with it all at Volquest.com, the transfer portal tracker. You can find that at Volquest.com and anywhere you can find us. YouTube, on the General's Quarters, all that good stuff, and on Twitter at Volquest_on3. For Brent Hubbs, I'm Eric Kane as we discuss some Tennessee movement in the transfer portal here on a Wednesday afternoon.